This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you through the support of the town of North Haven.
Good evening. This is North Haven in the Wetlands, and we can open the meeting right now. And we're going to skip over a bunch of stuff, and we're going to go into intros.
Not really. They need to pull that a little closer to that window.
How about now?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome to North Haven in the Wetlands. We're going to be picking up from our February meeting, but first we'll do a quick intros on who's sitting. So, Andy?
Yeah, Andy Gilwalker, town engineer.
Alan Frederickson, land use administrator.
Will Monroe, zoning and wetlands enforcement officer.
Joe Larusso, Wetlands Commissioner.
John Whitcomb, Wetlands Commissioner.
Steve Miller, Commissioner.
Cheryl Chenoweth, commissioner. Anna Garston, commissioner. Bethany Fox, alternate commissioner. Leslie Carney, land use secretary. Christine Hilton, land use secretary.
Genevieve Gordon, stenographer.
Okay, so at this point in time, Alan, are there any changes?
No, there are no changes.
Okay, as you all know, the public hearing was closed in February, and we're going to be deliberating on AB Eco Park Inland Wetland Application 123-11. Now the commission shall go into deliberations, so I'm going to be looking for a motion to go into deliberations.
Make a motion to go into deliberations.
John Whitcomb makes a motion to go into deliberations. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Gina Russo. Let's all vote on that. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, we're into the deliberations.
May I open?
Yes, you may. Do I hear a motion for discussion?
I was gonna make a motion.
Steve, if you can get a little closer to that.
You almost got to get the mic.
There's also feedback. There's a lot of feedback.
Yeah, this room has horrible acoustics, but we do the best we can.
So I would like to make a motion to deny the application. And I have reasons which I could discuss very quickly. Number one. the
Please
proposal-
speak louder.
You're not in the way.
We can't hear you.
Maybe.
Barely.
Hello.
That's what counts. You can get about an inch from that.
Do my best Elvis if that would help. So I would like to make a motion to deny this application. Reasons coming forward is it would obliterate approximately 2,500 square feet of wetlands. Second, the pipe proposed to connect wetland 11 to wetland 17, which is the most contaminated wetland on the property, will further adversely impact the wetlands by spreading contamination from wetland 17, from wetland 17 to wetland 11. Number three, the application failed to provide alternative plans that offer the possibility of using clean fill, less fill, or cleaner, potentially commingled fill. Next is the proposed activity, given the speculative and incomplete testing protocol and the absence of data on the actual proposed fill, will have an adverse impact on the wetlands. And my last thought is past practices in connection with major remediation projects presented to the commission has typically involved the use of geotextile membranes. Geotextile membranes prevent further contamination of soils in place on the property and wetlands. No such mitigation measures are proposed with respect to this application.
Okay, do I see a second? Can I get a second on this motion? Okay, got a second from Anna. The motion was made by Steve Miller. So now we'll go into discussion on it. Wait a minute, we have to take a vote. No. We gotta keep moving on, we can discuss it, right? Yeah. Yeah, let's just,
This is the opportunity to discuss and
yeah,
prior to the vote.
very good. So, Jimmy, what do you think?
Concerns with the film.
Jimmy, gotta get close to the microphone.
I do have concerns with the film material and not in the lack of a cap. So I'm kind of on board.
All right, do you have anything you want to add, subtract?
I'd like to see wetland 17 for this, to take that into consideration also. It shouldn't be put aside just because it's a much bigger project. Other than that,
Okay. John, what do you think?
I have a little different view.
You want to get closer to the mic?
Wait a minute.
Oh, time out.
Something with the tape machine. Oh, my camera too.
Okay, Mr. Quigley? Okay. Good, John.
I have a little bit different take. I see the opportunity to make this a usable site
Is that good, John?
by providing a fill for this site through the DEP. The DEP's recommendations of fill is actually a good thing for the site. My issue with it, that I still have an issue with, is particularly Wetland 17 and verifying that even if, this is a very ambitious project, just to talk about people in history, the equipment that is going to be brought in, the prices. We don't really have any kind of guarantee or proof that Wetland 17 will be remediated, so what we could end up with is a filled site where we still don't have a usable site because Wetland 17 is remediated. And it's not prepared in a way that makes it a usable site, and then pass anything. We end up with basically a bunch of questions.
Can you repeat that, please? We can't hear you.
Okay, if I lose a tooth on the mic, you guys feel reimbursed my dentist. The film that the DEP proposed is actually been used in other places in the state and in my thought process would work on this site. The issue I have is that Wetland 17 isn't addressed. And that can leave us in a position where we end up with pretty much the same site, because that's the worst contamination we have on site. I couldn't put a positive vote on this, but I don't think the fill is a bad idea. As long as it was completed to DEP's standards. But I would still end up voting no and agreeing with the denial. 17 doesn't get done, which is the thing we need the most on the site, in my opinion.
So you're concerned that there isn't enough guarantee that 17 will be cleaned up?
Right, I mean, it's also, I think in the first meeting, the applicant himself said it was, could be $30 million for just, the 17 for the remediation required there, and that was never spelled out any further. With the dollar value we're looking for, this is a very ambitious project for the applicant to take over. I just would need some guarantee that all these items would be done, so even if the project didn't move forward, that what the town was left with would be a usable site.
Something like something to do with bonding.
Yeah, bonding or letters of credit or whatever it is, and a plan for 17 that we could review and say, sure, that meets ours, even if it's something that has to be approved by DEP later, we would have something that we could focus on and approve. We have nothing that we could approve for 17, so there's no way that we could say it protects the wetlands when we don't have anything that says it does.
Okay. We'll do it this way. Ann, what do you got?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, get close to the mic. It's-
This one, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I mentioned this in the prior meeting, but, I guess I have two main points, some of which have already been discussed. The nature of the fill, I would have liked to have seen an exploration of alternatives in terms of the fill, not necessarily saying it has to be this fill or that fill, but just, you know, like mentioned, you know, some combination of dirty fill or clean fill or all clean fill. I just felt like the alternatives which were provided maybe like 2 weeks before the last meeting were kind of afterthoughts. And they didn't really address what people seem to be most concerned about, which is the fill. They were just about
Correct.
location. They weren't about, let's try to envision some alternatives in terms of the fill. So that was a problem for me. I appreciate, you know, that there are standards of the fill that are, you know, part of the law. But I do think that it just seemed to me totally up in the air what the fill might be. And that was a problem, just based on the uncertainty. So kind of alternatives plus the problem of, you know, can't actually identify the fill and looking at the fills.
Okay. You sure?
I agree with Anna. My concern was also the fill and also how they are going to monitor the type of fill that they're getting. Because that seemed to be an issue last time, and how they were actually going to propose to monitor the fill with the many dump trucks that were proposed as going to be on the property on a daily basis. And also my concern was the cap. I believe it was only a 6-inch cap of clean fill that was proposed. And then I cannot recall whether or not there was going to be a tar or something over that. But I think that needs, in my opinion, that should be revised for a larger amount of clean fill on the cap, and then maybe capping it with some hard solidified substance on top of that.
Okay. And I agree with John. I'm not as scared of the fill that's coming in as many of my other fears that I have on this project. I read and understood the parameters of the fill. I think that the knowledge of what the fill is was not relayed out correctly to the public at all. But I understand what the fill is. Myself, I'm concerned about the cap. I'm also concerned about there was no talk about any type of clay interrupters where it would stop any leaching to other sites, to the river. That was my concern as well. The testing protocol for the fill, I thought was not something that I want to have in my town. I agree with John that I think that it's a large undertaking of a project, and I can't say that the project would be horrible. The project needs a ton of work. So for those reasons myself, I can't see this being passed either. So at this time, I'm going to ask for anybody want to amend the motion? Do you want to add anything to Steve's motion? I think each commissioner came up with about everything Steve talked about. You did, John's got off a little bit. Does anybody want to amend the motion? Or you want to continue with the motion that Steve has?
Is it in writing? Like, I can't remember exactly the words.
Here you go. Now, that's just Steve's thoughts.
Right, but this is the motion.
Yeah, those are his thoughts, yes.
Excuse me, does Steve have something that's actually in writing?
Yeah, you wrote.
Okay. If we can have a copy of that for the record, that would be great.
Yep.
Can get it now.
We're gonna do that at the meeting.
Okay.
I personally am comfortable with exactly what I said is covered by this motion.
I thought it was covered well. You know, you're okay with
I
this?
think No, I am.
Okay.
Happy to receive it, yes.
All right, so obviously nobody wants to make any changes to the motion. I have a second on it, so let's go to the vote. And for the vote, let's do a voice and a right hand in the air. Those want to deny this application, please vote denial now. Okay? I see everybody sitting and voting. Knock it off. I see everybody has voted. It's unanimous. This motion did not pass. Okay, at this time,
So the motion does pass,
yes.
6-0. The application
So now we
was,
want to
the
do a.
motion was to deny the application to the application.
Okay,
Is it?
that works for
That's what I
me.
heard, okay?
Yep, that works for me. So then let's get someone want to make a motion to deny this application.
He made the motion
With
to
his motion. Correct? Is that the way we want to go with this?
He made the motion to deny.
Right, and I got a second.
And we had a second and you voted, you're done.
So then at this time, that meeting, that application is done. Okay. All right. As you can see, at this moment, this commission was unable to approve this application as presented. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a 3-minute break, because I know 90% of you want to get up and leave, and there's no sense us going on with our next application until, if you guys want to leave. If not, we'll go on our next application. Thank you for coming tonight. Mr. Secretary, would you read the next application?
For the public hearing, application of Vincent Capasso, applicant, BSR LLC, owner of 400 Valley Service Road, map 85, lot 2, seeking a permit to conduct regulated activity and a site plan referral plan entitled proposed site development, number 400 Valley Service Road, North Haven, Connecticut, 06473. Prepared by Criscolo Engineering LLC, dated 1/24/2024, scale 1:40. IL-80 zoning district.
All right, is there someone here representing that?
Cut to the other. Are you on Joe's camera?
See if there's a switch on it, I'm not sure.
Are you on my camera? Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Hello? You hear it?
I need to move my camera so I can get the commissioners. Okay. Oh, this doesn't really move because it's taped.
Again, Jim Credit for Soil Engineering for 2022. Representing Capasso, BSR LLC. Mr. Capasso has bought one of the lots that's on the extended Valley Service Road. The kind of extended between the game and where Amazon is now. The site is approximately 24 acres. What we're looking to do is develop this upland area here that's
about 4 acres in size. There's existing, there's kind of a dirt road that goes in here now. This wetland border on this side is primarily maintained by a very large culvert that drains actually Route 5 under the railroad. Now, this little piece here is actually quite a scour hole.
Sorry about that.
And then there's some other pockets of that. What I do have here for,
Well, I can't move around because my stuff's
I have numbered photographs. And then there's a little bit of.
Let me see if I can move over here.
Where the photos were taken. I don't know if anybody's been to the site, but
I guess it's been a little better.
see
Okay.
the condition of the site the way it is today.
Are you putting this in as an exhibit?
Yes.
Are you to be exhibit A? And with your photographs, and you want to do exhibit B on the map?
Yes, if we could mark those exhibits, that would be great.
Okay.
Okay.
How many photos do you have?
Yeah.
Let's just mark them 1A, all 15 photos collectively.
Okay, did you do that? I'll do B for the map. And, yeah.
This is 1A, all 14.
Pass it back.
Again, I don't know if any commissioners have been by the site, but it has been historically since the road, at least since the road's gone through, dumping ground. People are constantly dumping trash, garbage, used tires, anything you can imagine. Also, it has been actively used by ATVs and motorcycles and everything, all through that area. What we're proposing to do is build a trucking terminal basically here. This is similar to a facility in Brantford. What happens is trucks come in, they load, materials get resorted, loaded on different trucks, and that happens. So it's not really a warehouse for more than a day. Usually the same day things are sorted and sent back out. So nothing's stored here long term. Again, we're only looking to develop this upland area here, like I said, it's just about 4 acres, but also within the, property confines that Mr. Thompson bought. The plan is to go in there and remove all the trash that is in the wetland area, all the whole site is. The same idea, it's mostly in wetland areas. And there's a lot of high canopy and leaf litter mixed in. I asked our wetland scientist, Matthew Davidson from Davidson Environmental, I said, once we pull the trash out, is there anything we should do? He said, quite honestly, if they're left alone, they'll be in much better shape than they were. Because of the high canopy and the leaf litter, the wetlands will be okay once we get all the trash out. But we have provided a set of drawings, a full stormwater system that does put quite a bit back in the ground here. There's a lot of very clean sand underneath until you get to the water table, which is about 5 or 6 feet down. This will be served by an outside well. There currently isn't any power on this road. Part of this project is you're partnering with Power Source in the town, right? To bring power and streetlights down this road, because there's currently not any streetlights, which will also hopefully help deter people from continuing to dump trash here. I mean, I think until you get somebody actively using one of these sites that has lights and probably cameras and activity in and out of the site, I don't think it's going to get any better from what's happening now. only using a very small part of it. We are getting kind of close in a couple areas here. The limits of the pavement are really necessary to provide truck turning movements, because again, this is for the government. The tractors have to be able to get in and out and maneuver around other tractors that are at the loading dock. We're providing a couple small parking areas for employees. Again, this isn't kind of a high volume, people empty trucks, put on trucks, goes away. It's not a lot of people in the building, generally at any one time. I have indicated on there, one of the comments was about landscaping. We will provide a more comprehensive plan. I indicated on here, trees, I think we were gonna go with 2.5 inch caliber slender sweet gum trees, which don't grow very wide. And the reason because all the trucks moving in and out of here, they just have to get cut, so we try to do more columnar type tree. And on the fringes, past where we're developing here, yeah, one of the plans that we're gonna in this third area, like in this area, probably the retaining wall, reseed it with erosion control mix and something that doesn't need to be mowed. Again, we call out wetland areas, we clean the trash, debris, etc. We've shown typical erosion controls on here, stockpile area. We have, again, infiltration for the roof area here, and then the detention basin, the site over here for the pavement area. This little pavement area, because of the distance of this little pavement area, we've actually adjust these 5 cars, actually pitch the other day, and run down to dirt rack levels where the diffused water basically slow it down, letting it back in. This is very, again, it's very sandy soil here. So we're trying to promote infiltration over quick. The bottom of this, fresh stone in there, try to get some hot water back in the ground as well. There's a
we don't have anything that shows us what the building's going to be.
Excuse me? The building is 20,000 square feet. With a small office area inside here. These are all loading height, dock doors, all 4 foot high, except for right here, there will be a drive-in door for a smaller vehicle, but 75 to 80% of it will be loading dock.
All right, well, it seems like you saw the comments, so let's take a look at the comments. Alan's comments are dealing with the alternatives. And obviously the dumping is a mess down there, we all know that. I mean, unfortunately, he didn't hear that, that's not good. But, I'll be honest with you, when I looked at this at home, first day I got it, I said, it's a landscape plan, and it's great you drew some trees, but I guess what I'm looking for in a landscape plan is, the site is pushed directly to the wetlands in many spots, many areas. And, I mean, it's kind of a flagship application to go in there. It's his first one. And he's got to put a lawn in, planning is going to make him put a lawn in, it's going to be sprinklered, the whole bit. And we want to see where he plans on putting a lawn, shrubs, trees, and whatnot, because he may have to go into more of the buffer. I don't know what he's doing. He's so close to the buffer now that I'm not a planning and zoning guy, but I know they have to have lawn. And if planning and zoning says that he's gotta have X amount of lawn on this side or that side or the other side, is it in the buffer zone, is it in the wetlands, and is he coming back because now planning and zoning is saying you have to have planting plan, you have to have lawn, you have to have this, you have to have that. And so I guess what I'm saying is please get one together and get it to us, so, and check with Alan, make sure that it covers the planning and zoning aspects. Okay, so that planning and zoning doesn't kick him back here, all right? I mean, we already held him up 1 month, and we appreciate that. So let's get the planting plan to us for next month. Also, you're not showing any chain link fence on the property, and I'm being honest with you, sir, you need
Oh,
it. So,
I apologize for the.
So let's get-
but that's the first thing he's gonna do.
yeah, so, and I don't know if he wants to do his entire property. I don't know if he wants to just do around his building. I don't know what his intentions are. So while he's at planning and zoning, they're gonna make him do it. But while he's at in the wetlands, let's see it. Let's make sure that if it is needing to be in a spot, it needs the permit to allow it to be there, that it gets done at one time. And I looked at this, and I have a 101 driver's license, and I did drive tractor trailer trucks. Guys, that's a real narrow driveway. It's a planning and zoning thing. But these are just the things that I looked at and went, holy crap. You know, you're gonna drive all over the lawn. So, you know, look at that, okay? The frontier, going to the street, again, I mean, that's gonna have to be lawn, but it's also gonna be in the buffer zone as well. If you're in the front there, because you have wetlands.
Which area are we talking
Come right off the Valley Service Road and drive, oh, yeah, right there. And also on the other side of the driveway. That's probably gonna be the lawn as well now.
about? Honestly, we're planning on leaving as many of the trees as possible and just doing lawn fringes.
Okay, I don't know what planning and zoning is gonna make you do. So check with Alan, check your planning and zoning regulations, make sure that they're all okay, and back to sort of planting plan. Also, when I looked at this, it is right up against the buffer zone. I mean, in the wetlands. Here. It's aggressive in that stance. I fully understand a 53-foot trailer. I mean, even if the guy, jackknifes it around, it's still a 53-foot trailer. I get that. But normally, in an application like this, where the physical need of that buffer zone is necessary, physical need, aka the trucks. I mean, yes, you could make a smaller building, but you still got 53-foot trucks. You know, you could say half the trucks, they're still 53 feet. So going around the corner of a building would not, it's still 53 feet now. I get it. So normally they have some sort of remediation plan. In other words, the buffer zone is an important function and protects the wetland. It cleans a certain amount of debris before it gets to the wetland. You know, I don't have to tell you, you understand the values of the land review area. According to this plan, if it was to be allowed, it's obliviated. So I mean, and has he thought about doing anything to offset that?
Well, when you say that, stuff running off, we will be adding curb bits, so we'll be reducting it, we're running everything through the hydrant separator.
I saw that.
So we are.
But you're still doing a sheet flow off the parking area onto maybe a lawn, maybe not a lawn, I don't know.
There will be a little bit of a fringe lawn. On this side, we do have a wall. We did have to get close because of turning movement, so to stop any further grading or the wall. On the outside of the wall, we're going to restore that, because there'll be obviously a little bit of digging into the wall, and restore that with the erosion control mix that could be left alone, and kind of create a buffer in that sense, in that area. And we would do the same thing along the other places, because really, you just have a small fringe of lawn in most areas. areas. You know, obviously you want a little bit more in front for some visibility, but
Well, when you decide what you want to do, come back. There's also a question of sidewalks. Whether or not they make it to sidewalks or not, that's beyond me. But what I'm saying to the applicant and you, if you don't want to get done with us, go to planning and zoning and find out that you have to put in sidewalks and then come back. So, you know, come back with a plan that's got the sidewalks on there. You may get waived. That's your deal. You may get waived. But in building the sidewalks, you're also going through the wetlands or the upland review area. So you want it included in the permit of this application. So now, if you get waived, super. But let's not go to planning and zoning and then come back, and then go to planning and zoning and then come back. Let's.
Well, I am a little concerned about that. I spoke with the applicant, you know, briefly before the meeting and just said, you know, Mr. Cavasso, unfortunately, is the first one through the chute here in
Right.
terms of Valley Service Road.
Right.
I have a real good idea of what happens up at Waterbrook Industrial Park. They wave the sidewalks everywhere up there.
And Woodbrook Industrial Park has gorgeous lawns with irrigation, gorgeous plantings, gorgeous trees, and it's very park-like.
They
It's
do.
very North Haven, it's very nice.
But for many reasons, I'm a little uncertain as to what will happen with the sidewalks here. Required sidewalks, I have roughed up P&Z comments that I can finish tomorrow if need be, but they already have the comment that you've got to provide the sidewalks unless waived. So they can waive the sidewalks, and the problem is, as Frank is saying, okay, here we are, you've got a stretch, you know, off the southwest corner of the development that's south of Wetlands, where you put the sidewalks. Is that really worth it? I don't know, maybe it is for P&Z. They have no sidewalks there whatsoever, but this is the first development that would occur there. Are they going to want the sidewalks? Are they going to want the sidewalks on one side only, perhaps? I don't know. And the problem is you do get dumped back to this commission if it's not on there, and if they're required. But it's a tough comment to make because it's something that could be waived, or could be partially waived, or what have you. You know, I want you guys in a good position, you know, going into P&Z and not have to go back and forth, certainly.
I agree, and I worked on some of those sites on Bedford Park Road, and I was there, they did waive the sidewalks. You know, all those sites were developed, and I thought that here, there's some areas that are probably not ever gonna go, I don't know if the sidewalk will ever connect. It may be just pieces.
Right,
so-
so what we're saying here is, it's not us that makes that decision, but what happens is we're looking out for the applicant, hey, throw it on the plan, get the permit for it,
Sure.
and then if it doesn't happen, then that's great. And then, of course, I'm saying get the permit for it. This plan needs a little work.
I don't think you have a problem, certainly, in terms of coverage or landscape area. You're permitted up to 90% impervious, not even close. And as far as the front landscape strip, you have the potential of leaving that as in its natural state. So I think that's probably something you would do in certain areas. The street trees are really a requirement for subdivisions, which we don't have here. But nonetheless, the question is, do they want to do something more, than what's there? So, yeah, I think to take a look at it, to offer something up, you definitely got required plantings in the islands, in the landscape islands, et cetera. You show the islands at the corners, they're not parking per se. You know, but nonetheless, I think there's a little bit of addressing anyway to do with that. And if you do get involved with a little bit of mitigation, you know, potentially for sidewalks, you know, I think maybe it doesn't have to be something that is overly intensive, but maybe it's something that can lead most of it to sort of rejuvenate itself. You know, I'm not sure.
So in the same vein, you know, if we're gonna come back here for the landscape and some other,
In the sidewalks,
in the sidewalk.
and the chain link fence.
Right, but if we're gonna come back here, does it make sense to still go to the zoning?
No.
And get possibly any other major comments that they may have, like the street trees and the sidewalk before we come back?
I think not. They have never, in my years here, been willing to hear something that is not through wetlands. But perhaps I can get some sense as to what they would do, you know, very quickly, so that we don't, you know, pinball back and forth. That's something we're trying not to do here. You don't have a special permit type use. You've got a straightforward site plan. The wetland component is probably the most difficult. You're dealing with your storm water. You know, it seems more or less adequately. So I don't see it being a complicated, you know, unless somebody wants to start looking at the traffic, the total traffic that would be dumped on the Valley Service Road, you know, again, clearly not a wetland issue. You know, but other than that, it would be something that has the potential to be one and done, as we say. You know, so, but maybe I can get some input back to you that would be constructive and prevent that problem.
And Jim, I understand there's a lighting plan coming.
I actually have it, but I'll, okay, before that.
Yeah, when you get your plan scheduled, the landscape, put that in with it too, because, hang on, put it in with ours too. Please. At this moment, I'm just gonna, Kathy, you got anything you wanna ask? Yeah?
I just have like a logistical question about how this operates, just after it's all complete. So basically, I'm trying to understand who's in charge of the site. So, who owns, like, is it, what company, and the purpose of the site is to allow trucks from a lot of different companies to come? I just
No,
don't
I
understand
can answer that.
how it works.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Introduce yourself, sir.
Sure. My name is Vinny Picasso. I'm with VSR, which is owned by my brother. So we are part of Frank Picasso and Sons, originally from North Haven, moved across the border where Toronto Trucking is. We do really good work, really nice sites, stuff like that. We do it ourselves. So this terminal here is similar to one next door to our office, like AMA, JP Express. You might have seen trucks around the area. They're right on 117 in North Haven, Norfolk line, that line. So this is called a transfer. I guess it's correct. It's it's cross dock. That's the word I'm looking for. Sorry. It's a cross dock. So these trucks here basically come. I'm gonna start backwards. They come in at night. They bring deliveries that they might pick up along their drop-offs. So they come at night. There'll be literally a second shift, not really a third shift, or a mid shift, between shift, where there is a cross dock. So the second shift the trucks all park, and then they will move the deliveries from one truck to another, depending where that truck goes that day. And they leave in the morning, and they don't come back at night. So the place is pretty much really very quiet, or even dead during the day. There'd probably be probably the most 5 employees in this facility. So it's really gonna be a quiet, nothing like Amazon where it's constant rotation. This is a cross dock because of the size of it, it's too small for a warehouse type of situation. So like Jim said before, most of the items here will come in at night and they leave in the morning. So then we store more than 24 hours or just the weekend.
But whose trucks are they? Like,
There would be, I have a,
people, are people,
anyone-
renting space to do
I'm
this?
renting it out to a client, yes.
Oh, okay, so it's one, you're renting it to a
I'm
company.
not using it, I'm renting it out.
A company
This
is
is
renting
being
it
built
for
for
their own
specific
internal
This
business.
is being, you said company, yes.
That's what I was trying to understand. There's
Yeah.
one company that, the tenant is there.
Yeah.
That's their facility,
You're not-
their trucks, doing their stuff.
Yeah, that's a great question. You're not gonna get a variety of different companies coming there.
That's
Maybe 1 or 2 during the week, just for a special delivery, but there'll be always the same trucks, same drivers, and they'll be going on their routes all throughout the day, come back and
That helpful, repeat drivers.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Cheryl, Benjamin?
Yeah.
Steve? John?
Just in the upland review area, that they're kind of jumping all over it, would probably be decent to see is work with the wetland guy and have him do a planting plan to enhance, even though the upland review area where you're not working, so that what you're making better at areas where you're getting rid of the wetland buffer altogether. Just enhancing it.
Right, like I said, we're gonna be doing.
Yeah, there's something to focus on when you're doing
I'll
planting.
have,
Exactly.
you know, some stuff added.
Jimmy, what do you got? Okay. Couple of questions. What are you doing with the rest of the property? And what I'm getting at is, if you look at the plan, there's more or less a roadway going west. And it kind of antlers out either side. I mean, does he have any idea of any other expansions and any thoughts on that? Storage or anything like that?
So a lot of this is sloped up to the railroad, in fact, there's not a lot of usable space there, right now, so, right now, this is the only thing I can say. As far as this is, like, it's cleaned it up only right now.
Is it big enough to develop any of that, if you do the setbacks?
Development,
Something else?
like I said, this is just under 4 acres here, so you can see it's not a warehouse situation. You almost need the same amount, maybe not much, not that much, but you need a bigger building, quite a bit of pavement for tractor trailers, to unload. So it would be,
Because
I
again,
don't know that there's enough room for it.
if anything was to happen there, again, the upland review area would be, you know,
Yeah, but I mean, there is, you know, it's interesting because there is a, you may be able to see it in some of the pictures. There is kind of a good photo of all the back here. At this point, if the flags weren't there, you would be able to tell that you were in the upland or wetland. It's so flat there, and mostly dry, but, I mean, the way this is, you step off the edge of the road, I mean, you're pretty much in the wetland technically.
You know, as far as that upper area is concerned in the northeast corner, Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, I would think you, or you, Jim, you need a bridge or one heck of a culvert, in order to even get up there. I mean, you have grading issues, but on top of that, you need a wetland crossing, you know, to get up there. That brook is,
Well, here, I mean, this road is, the dirt road is really wide enough for anything commercial. And because the culvert coming on the railroad,
Yep.
it dumps in here,
that's pretty much continuous and it separates that portion. You would have a zero setback along the railroad tracks. So just remember that.
so this particular plan is 80 scale, so, you know, 50-foot culvert is very small. So there is some area here, and there's actually already a slip road that comes in here, maybe some small contractor units or something like that, but at this point, we don't have plans. It wouldn't be anything as big as this, that's for sure, it's a long area.
Okay.
Frank, is your recollection that our resolution down in Brucci Trucking was satisfactory. As you called for a chain link fence, maybe to put buffer markers on the fence, not get involved in any posts or what have you.
Well, I think we're a little premature on that, only due to the fact that we don't know whether he's gonna wanna do a chain link fence around his whole piece of property, whether he's gonna do it around just,
I didn't want to bring that up because I know it's proper, right? I would like to build a chain fence around the entire property, because if you go to the property is very abused by the motorcycle, ATV, there's broken bikes there, there's, spillage everywhere. So by putting a fence around it, you're actually protecting more of the environment than harming it. Right now it's harming. I mean, right now there's roads everywhere, especially in throughout the back of it.
right, I'll be honest with you, it has nothing to do with what I was thinking of your own liability.
I definitely agree.
So,
I would love to do that. I would.
I can only suggest certain things, but I mean, just guy to guy, I mean, if I owned that property, I'd have a tough time sleeping at night with 50, 60, 80
I
people all
definitely have
over.
like insurance on right
Yeah,
now.
right, so I mean, that's just my thought.
No, I totally agree with you, Frank.
So, I mean,
If I could
and
do
you
that,
have to
I'd
put
do
the fence right through a wetland, it's gonna be going through several parcels and whatnot. So, you do what you feel is comfortable as a plan, but please bring it to us so
Yeah.
that we can look at it.
That'd be great.
And I know that going through the wetland, installing a chain link fence, there are many ways to do it. It's probably a little more expensive to have them do it by hand rather than a million machinery.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's up to you.
yeah. I mean, I love the property.
Yeah.
I mean,
I met you.
I like it across the
Yes.
street. I don't have city water, I don't have running water.
Yep.
The only that they did the state, they put the pole right in the middle,
Right.
ran it across the side of the property, which is wrong. But that's
That's
another
what it was,
story another
yeah.
day, but I would love to do that, protect the property like that.
It's up to you, but what I'm saying is you have to think about the permit process, so you make a decision on how you want to do it, because there's no way you want to build anything out there with the activities that are going on out there without a chain link fence. Because you won't have trucks, you won't have tires, and you won't have any merchandise in the morning.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I'm just being honest.
yeah, no, I totally agree, I'd love to do that.
Yeah,
That actually brings up an interesting point, because typically, I was gonna ask this question, because typically, 6-foot chain link fence, we don't need a permit for it. Because it's got to run through this, does that need to be part of this permit?
Yes. because you're going to install it, and you have to go in there and do it. And then there's going to be another question about wildlife, and then there's going to be a question about, you know, are they able to get around that property? And there's going to be that whole looking at it in that aspect. So look at it. There's a hell of a white-tailed deer herd through there. We have bobcat, we have, you know, fisher cats, you get muskrat in there, you know, you got all kinds of stuff, bear in there, you know, bobcat, it's all kinds of stuff. So I mean, keep that in mind.
But the main threats to the property for quite some time, maybe 40 years, have been all the
It's
ATVs
been human, that's right.
going through there. It's very nice to have local ownership at this point. The sites that are getting run all over are owned by folks who are out of state and frankly who, you know, have kind of somewhat abandoned not the property, but their concern for it. So I think having a presence down there will be very good for this property, the balance of it, and the other properties. And to get lights down there will be wonderful also. Just on the street, you're absolutely getting creamed with the illicit dumping.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable when you walk in there. So we can reduce that and make it a less comfortable place for those folks to do that. That'll be a big help and help out the concerns of this commission.
I don't object to the sidewalks, just want to bring that up. I don't have any problem doing sidewalks along the front of the road.
Sir, that's awesome, but that's planning and zoning, but
That's
what I'm
full
just
fire.
saying is, if they make you do it, or you decide to do it,
Yeah.
you gotta show it on the plan so you get a permit for that activity.
Absolutely.
Because there's gonna be machinery in there, you're gonna have filling, you're gonna have grading, and
Perhaps.
I've been on the property a couple of times, I was there when it was Betsy Fisk's, I met you there, but I think that was last winter or the winter before.
Yeah, possibly.
So I can't remember if going through those wetlands, it's flat, whether it's dropped, I don't remember. I don't know if you're gonna have to do grading, get in there and put a fence. I don't know what you gotta do, so have your people look at that, come up with a plan, figure it out. And, you heard the commission. We definitely wanna see a remediation plan. We feel as though this is aggressive in the upland review area, so kind of address that.
Did you consider all, wetland mitigation, in other words, it's opposed to stopping all of the wetlands? If you built Fort One, you could actually move some of the wetlands. So in other words, if you took up 2,000 square feet of wetlands to provide yourself a buffer and make your site plan work a little better and not be so tight, you could put 8,000 square feet of wetlands. You've got plenty of land area in the back that you're not planning on using. You could actually connect some of the wetlands on so.
Again, 53-foot trailer, just make sure that, you're not building something that's not usable.
It doesn't seem like it would
Because
be.
what happens is, you're gonna be back in front of us in violation. So now's your chance to build it correctly.
Yeah, I mean, we did look at the current numbers, and I think that we have some data that I understand your point, and community, I think it's a good idea.
It gives you freedom of other sidewalks. I think what the process was, you can build a sidewalk and fill the wetlands like 4 times the square footage.
My understanding is that creating a lot of those is the last choice. Restore, enhance, create, and that order. So just by virtue of removing all the trash from the site, helping to restore what's there. But I will get input from Davis and Arvento, who will help with some additional buffer plantings all around, basically outside of our lawn areas.
Perhaps we should meet next week or the week after, but to take a good look at a route for a sidewalk. The P&Z Commission has been very flexible in terms of not necessarily jamming the sidewalk right against the property line. We have an extra wide right-of-way for Valley Service Road. Is that 100 feet? 100 feet. So it's possible that we might be able to push the sidewalks closer to the actual paved roadway and, spare everybody from, a lot of unnecessary grading or segmenting the wetlands. If we can pull a step out, pull it forward and get it against the road, I'm not saying right against, but 5-7 feet, would make a big difference in terms of the wetlands. And as John's saying, you have to mitigate less of it, in that way.
That would also make sense in the event this ever gets continued, because there's other areas on other sites of the wetlands fairly close.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so did you look at, you got Alan's, let's take a look at Andy's. I run through Andy's and pretty much will cover, you understand the floodplain permit?
Yeah.
Okay.
There is only one small area here that's actually the AE flood zone.
Okay. And anything else is pretty much significant activity. I think we'll leave that till next month to figure out whether we think that that's a necessity or not. Anybody want to put any last comment in? Kathy, yes, sir. Jim? John? So I'd like to hold this open for you to get some better information for us. So we're looking for a landscape plan, we're looking for a lighting plan, a chain link fence plan, mitigation and remediation plan. What? Oh, yeah, definitely recycling. Yes, sir. Put that in there.
I'm live.
Okay. You got any last thoughts, sir?
No, we'll come back.
Yeah. That would be
I-
good.
Again, it's safe to say that the property's pretty flat, it just got rutted because it got torn up by other previous owners, right? It's really, because it's so high up, there's not really a lot of water in that property. say that, Frank, you should maybe walk.
Yeah, but again, wetlands isn't where there's water, wetlands is a type of soil, and that's determined by a soil scientist, and it's got to do with layering and the types of soils and whatnot. So, I mean, we've seen property that's underwater that's not wetlands, and we've seen property that has no water on it today in the wetlands. So, all
I
right?
just want to, thank you.
There's one other question. You mentioned possibly filling some areas and creating some other areas. If our wetland scientist thinks that that's a good idea in some locations here, I mean, is that something that I've been to other commissions where they flat out hate that.
Look, we don't want you to come back with a lot of violations because they're driving into wetlands, that they're using the wetlands and everything else. So when you're getting a permit, do it right, come before us, and you either get a permit or you don't. But if you build a building and you build a site, then you're coming back with violation after violation after violation. What good does that do to any wetland? Whereas in the beginning, if we can take a small little area that he absolutely needs to make his plan work right, and he can do a much better job of making wetlands in other places than I mean, Jimmy did that for a living. So I mean, it's done. And look, we're realistic, all right? I mean, yeah, we're getting it. Yeah. And you're gonna come back with a robust plan anyway, because you want to use the upland review area. So I mean, if you have to do it, next one's the ones to come in and propose it. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you you're gonna get it, but propose it. Okay.
Did you want to, perhaps, open this up to the public? Because some people may not have just come for the one main feature.
I'll do that on the understanding that this application is not complete, and anything that they ask or add is going to be on an incomplete application, and it may be irrelevant, but if they'd like to speak, I'll open this up to public comment. Mary White. Now, Mary, you understand, he's coming back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually wanted to just.
So you are who?
Oh! Mary White, still on Summer Lane. I just wanted to make a suggestion, and I don't know the process of this application, future applications, when this can take place, but if there's a way that we can get security over there, cameras or something like that, because they're definitely still gonna be going over there. So to try and catch them and maybe alert the police if you're getting a ping on your phone or something, motions over there. As soon as he can possibly do it, I would just strongly recommend it. I know it's not a wetland issue, but I'm just saying. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Anyone else? No one see? We're gonna close the public's part. We're gonna keep the application open, and we'll see you next one. Thank you very much. All right, we have no,
If you want to go into deliberations, maybe you could formally continue it and then do the minutes. Whenever you'd like to do that.
I make a motion to deliberation.
I will say.
Did we have any other, we didn't really have anything else.
in deliberations, what are we gonna deliberate?
You're gonna make a motion to continue that
Okay,
application.
very good.
And then you're gonna deliberate the minutes,
Okay.
long and hard.
Oh, good. All right, I'm looking for a motion to go into deliberations. Jimmy made the motion, and Cheryl seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, we're now in deliberations. 400 Valley Service Road.
Make a motion to continue.
Awesome, I got to continue it from John Woodcomb. Can I get a second? Okay, Kathy's going to second it. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, it carries. We're going to continue it. All right, now we're going to the minutes. Anybody take a look at the minutes? Okay, can I get a motion to accept the minutes for February 28th, 2024? Cheryl's gonna make the motion, looking for a second.
I'll second.
I got Jimmy making the second, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and, so now let's get on deliberations. We're going to adjournment, can I get a motion for adjournment? I got a motion for adjournment by Steve, you make the second?
I will second.
Okay, Ann made the second on that one.
Sorry, I guess who made the motion?
Okay, Steve made the motion, Anna's got it second. We are now adjourned on the March meeting. Thank you, everybody, for coming, guys, you did a great job.
The preceding program is brought to you in part through a grant from the town of North Haven. Watch town meetings or other videos on demand at nhtv.com.